Well, in 2016, NBA YoungBoy released a song called 38 Baby.
Yes,
He's
sir.
actually talking about 38th Street, which is the street that you grew up on.
That's right. Yeah, man, listen. And so like when you in the feds, at that time, only thing, we screaming Boosie, you know what I mean? And, we screaming Gates, that's Baton Rouge. But see, they from the other side, So you got the ones that's around you that they from where they from the South. So, that's they people. But to anybody else, we repping them. But then when YoungBoy hit the computer, you see what I'm saying? That's 38th Street. And everybody up in, listen, from Bridge City, they know me, 38 Kane. You know what I'm saying? That's him, Clarence, Lil Flav, you know what I mean? So when YoungBoy come out with 38, man, it was something big around there. And then, Young and repping, and I love it, man, because, I really been repping that street from one end, from my end, all the way down, we talking about his end. I went to Dalton Elementary. You know what I'm saying? We stayed right around Delaware apartment. So, yeah, I respect them. I respect all of them, man. And what they just did, and came back with and did the album, Boosie, YoungBoy, and them. I like that, man. They need to really come together down there, bro.
I mean, how do you feel about NBA YoungBoy and all the beef he's gotten into since he really started to get hot? When you look at the whole beef with Lil Durk, and behind that, King Von ends up getting killed, Quando Rondo gets shot at, and his cousin, Lil Pop, gets killed, and now, you see Lil Durk in prison on attempted murder charges, and then YoungBoy had a whole bunch of charges also and so forth. When you look at all the violence around that, what are your thoughts of it, considering that you're one of the originals that created a lot of the violence in that area?
And I'm glad you asked that question, Vlad, because when I look at that, and I see myself in my era, even though he doing it way bigger. I'm talking, he on another bigger scale than me. And again, we didn't have the social media, and, you might, it's a lot be said, or, Youngin ain't got no guidance. He ain't got, man, listen, shit, he got a lot of guidance. He got a lot of money. His money guiding him, and I look at it, he living his life. He living how he wanna, and he know what's going on around him, Vlad. That's what gets me with people, they feel like he don't know. He done been in prison, he done been in jail, there's been a lot of killing going on around him. Like it says, a lot of this and that. He know what's going on around him. You know what I mean? And, one day, I hope it's real soon, he gonna tone it down a little bit, because he gonna realize them kids is worth more than the media. You know what I'm saying? Them babies gonna be worth more than, his presence, not just the money, but he on a whole nother level right now, though, man. That man on some Michael Jackson, Tupac type shit. You know what I'm saying? For real, man. I need to start rapping and me and him do a song together or something.
Well, it's 2020. You're 53 years old, and you're serving your life sentence plus 40 years. But then at one point, some of the laws change. And there's a situation that actually allows you to get out. Was this something that you actually were researching and working with lawyers on? Or did these laws just come out of nowhere and you just got lucky?
No, actually, Vlad, that was 2015, right? And in 14, I'm talking to Boosie, and I'm talking to my main man, I'm talking to Buster. And I'm telling them then, because like I told you, I had a charge. They used 3 violent prior convictions to give me a life sentence. I'm the only person in the Fed research it. When I got sentenced under the Armed Career Criminal Act in 1993, I'm the only black man in the BOP. I'm the only Mexican, white, Japanese, whatever you want to call it, in the penitentiary with a life sentence under the Armed Career Criminal Act. You see what I'm saying? And they used 3 violent priors. One, what I say when I told you I didn't do that charge. That was my man them did it, and I copped out to it. So him and Boosie, I was telling them that I'm studying, trying to attack this prior and this juvenile prior that I was a juvenile. You know what I'm saying? I caught this charge as a juvenile, and they saying under the Louisiana state law, manslaughter, you can't use that to enhance me as a juvenile if it was a juvenile conviction. So yeah, it was about that time there. And then in, I think, 15 or 16, United States versus Johnson, came out with dealing with the residual clause of what's consist of a crime of violence. That's how I got back to show that my juvenile, under the Louisiana state law, that my juvenile prior conviction, that you can't, if you can't enhance under the Habitual Offender Act or the state of Louisiana, you can't do it under the federal statute. That's how that life come up off me. Now, I still had 40 years with the feds that I got from out of Texas, that the judge in Texas sentenced me. A case came out in 18 called United States versus Davis. There was bank robbers, and they was started stacking their charges up, and they had stacked mines up to give me the 40 years. You know, they used the crime of violence, and they used a drug trafficking offense, them two guns, and stacked them and gave me the automatic 20 years for them.